Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The decision...
Order!
Thank you.
Jan Logie.
The decision by the government to create the position of a Disability Commissioner was prompted by a member's bill of my colleague Catherine Delahunty, pulled from the ballot in 2010. Catherine's bill provided for the creation of a designated Disability Commissioner to sit alongside the current specialist designations of EEO and race relations. Catherine withdrew her bill in good faith when the government announced they would be creating a Disability Commissioner. This was under the assumption that any bill establishing such a position would be along similar lines to her bill. Following the withdrawal of Catherine's bill, we were pleased that the government moved quickly to appoint New Zealand's first Disability Commissioner at the Human Rights Commission, Paul Gibson. Like many in the disability community, we welcomed Paul's appointment because Paul was so clearly the right person for the job. Not only did he have a proven track record as an advocate for the disability community and a wealth of knowledge and expertise on disability issues, he also brought to the role a lived experience of disability and a strong commitment to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. In addition to welcoming Paul's appointment, we were celebrating that there was finally a full-time designated Disability Commissioner, something that the disability community had pushed for such a long time. Given this background, the Green Party had hoped to be supporting this bill tonight, as we had expected something along similar lines to Catherine's bill, something that the disability communities would deliver for them. So it was with some dismay, to say the least, that we find that not only does this bill fail to create the role of a specialised disability commissioner in the way that was provided for in Catherine's bill, but it also proposes a restructuring of the Human Rights Commission and their role, which has consequences for its future work. Instead of, as we had expected, creating a designated Disability Commissioner to stand alongside existing specialist designations, this bill actually removes the specialist designations of EEO and race relations from the Act and instead adds these to the list of functions of the Commission. And while this bill does add disability to that list of functions and stipulates that there must be a commissioner designated by the Chief Commissioner to lead work in disability, along with other priority areas, we are very concerned about the impact of this larger restructuring on the focus of these roles, particularly as commissioners will be expected to work in more than one priority area. We believe that the effect of this move will inevitably weaken the focus on these areas. Commissioners will become human rights commissioners with primary responsibility to the work of the Commission as a whole, rather than to the work that they are leading. And this has worrying implications, particularly for disability, where there is so much work to be done. There is so much work that has to be caught up on after decades of being kept in the dark, kept out of the policy debate. In contrast to this bill, Catherine's bill was clear and specific to disability. In addition to creating a designated Disability Commissioner, it also spelled out specific criteria for their appointment and an extensive list of functions specific to a Disability Commissioner. This list was developed in extensive consultation with the disability community and reflects the significant input that they had into it. It outlined 13 functions for a Disability Commissioner and included a number of important elements that are missing from this bill, including explicit requirements for the Disability Commissioner to actively engage with different communities of persons living with impairments, to act as an advocate for their interests, rights and well-being, and assist government with work towards the implementation of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. None of these functions are in the much simplified list of functions in Clause 12 of this bill. This bill is not delivering for the disability community and will not be delivering for the other communities that will also have their needs watered down by this bill. The restructuring and reframing of the roles will affect the choice of people appointed to the lead commission work and priority area, with a shift to more broad and generalist skills. Someone with a broad understanding of human rights may not, and probably will not, bring with them a specific knowledge, understanding and background in disability that is so urgently needed in this country for this role to be effective in making a difference for disabled people. The criteria for their appointment in Clause 12 also does not include a key one of knowledge of the various communities of people living with impairments in New Zealand, which in our view is absolutely essential for an effective Disability Commissioner. There was a strong push from the disability sector for a Disability Commissioner with lived experience of disability and a proven track record as a disability advocate. And that's not just symbolic. We've seen, for us in our party, the difference that Mojo Mathers has made in providing a link to people in a variety of disability communities in the country. And they know they don't have to explain to her that she gets it, because she's had that experience and has that role of advocacy. This bill is robbing the disability communities of that guarantee of that person, and it is a shame. And furthermore, while the bill stipulates that there must be a commissioner appointed to lead the work in the 3 priority areas, it doesn't guarantee that they'll get to work full-time on these issues. This bill is a wholesale review of the Human Rights Commission done by stealth. If we're going to establish a full-time position for a Disability Commissioner, then let's do it. Not just say we're doing it, which is what this government has been doing. This government's decision also, this is happening within the context of the government's decision to freeze funding for the Human Rights Commission until 2020. And that decision has resulted in a 15% staffing cut at the Commission. This government has very few checks on the power of government and minimal tools to fight discrimination. By the response to the Marriage Equality Act, we know that people in this country care about human rights. This bill is letting them down. And over the past 2 years, I've seen far too many pieces of legislation that are in breach of the Bill of Rights Act. We need a strong institution to uphold human rights in this country. We have a long way to go, particularly for people with disabilities, for them to be able to achieve equality in this country, and they deserve an institution and people representing them that are able to understand and strongly advocate into this place for their rights to be realised. And this bill we will be strongly opposing as an undermining of those rights and those aspirations.
I call the Honourable Member Dennis O'Rourke.